Hello everyone, it's me, Heidi. Today I'm here to shine the light on mother guilt, a topic that every one of us know about or should know about if we've looked under the rug of what has been swept under there. So today we're going to have a look at this because it's really important that we release these feelings so that we can bring more clarity and intuition for ourselves, which comes more calmness, more patience, and a better connection with our higher self and with our children. That's one of the biggest gifts that we can get from doing this. So let's have a look at mother guilt and see what is actually going on with this. So when we feel guilt, basically we've realized at some point after the fact of what we've done or what we haven't done that it doesn't line up with our values, with ourself. And so it might be something we feel like we should have been or done or had, or the opposite, we should have not been, done, or had. And so then we get that feeling of, oh, I don't like that, the fact that I've done it. So it might be if we're talking about mother guilt, obviously we can have guilt for the rest of our lives as well. But today we're going to look at with our children. So it might have started even back with a traumatic birth. That guilt that can happen because I didn't do this, or I ended up with this, or I had an disempowering treatment by a medical professional. Sometimes that can affect our connection with our child. So it starts from there and it works all the way through until at some point when you might have done something and immediately after you've realized, oh, I actually really didn't want to do that. So there's so many of us wanting and desiring to live from our heart, live consciously, shine the beautiful light to our children. But unfortunately, there's still a whole lot of darkness and wounds that we are working through as mothers, and sometimes we do slip up. It is almost inevitable. And so we have to consider what happens. Oh, okay, yes, I've just yelled at my child, I've just said a nasty word, I've smacked them, whatever it is. Immediately after, we can go, oh, I didn't even want to do that. And so then immediately after we get guilt. But what happens is, to protect us from that feeling, our ego self will come in and pop a lid on top, and it will start to make excuses, justify, rationalize. We hear these little words, oh, they deserve that. No, they were really naughty that time. I really had to do something. Or rationalizing, it's okay, and oh no, it doesn't really bother me that much, even though it actually does when we get honest with ourselves. So the ego self is there to protect us from feeling those feelings, because we're human, we have a heart, right? And so no matter how much we try and tell ourselves it's okay or they deserved it, underneath that there is always guilt if our soul has recognized that's something that I didn't want to do and I didn't want to be like. And for all of us, we could sit there and go back over the many times that we've done things that we really didn't want to do or be like, and it would probably implode us if it all came back to us at one hit. So that's why the ego is keeping a lid on it, so we can feel safe and not die from the explosion of emotion that would otherwise happen. So today I really want to express to you the truth is that there really doesn't need to be the guilt. Even though there doesn't need to be. Our children have arranged and they've made a soul contract before they've come here to earth, and in our family, I would come into this family to experience these things and these themes. So they might be the child who is the naughty child, or they might decide, I'm going to explore the theme, the sickly child, the stubborn child, the over-the-top child. And of course, that brings a whole lot of responses from others in how they are. And that also, goes out for others to experience their lessons from our child when they're like this too. But we have to accept and understand that our children have come here to explore these themes. And so when we realize that, we go, is this path all meant to be? And yes, it is and it isn't, because of course we have free will. And when we know better, we can do better. So obviously now, knowing this, we can go, okay, right. But I also say to many mothers, we need to do our dark work and release our emotions so that we don't get trapped in those moments when we go, I've just, yelled at my child or done something I didn't want to, almost uncontrollably. And I've been there to experience that it feels uncontrollable at times. So unless we are actively letting go of our dark emotions on the side, unfortunately, sometimes we can take it out on our children. So yes, obviously there's some points when we can feel bad because we feel like we know better, but we're on a path too, and we've arranged to experience certain things as well. So when we start to look at it and go, okay, right, it doesn't feel comfortable that I have to go through these things with my child, but that's what life is. It's not going to be the smooth road the whole time with our children. We know that. And so then we can, move forward in a better way once we do. And our children are actually experiencing these things because it gives them a block, and that block has a gift under it then for them to experience at a later date when they work through that block. So, for example, the sick child can work through the block to become the healthy child. The stubborn one can work through the block to become the flexible one. The over-the-top child might work through it to go, okay, this is what balance feels like, or this is me, going out and expressing my gifts anyway. Who have I forgotten? There's another one. The sickly, the stubborn, the over the top, the naughty one. And so, that might be the one that discovers self-worth or, fitting in, or, there's lots of different things that they might get from working through their block. And so then we start to realize as we go through this and we know what is going on, it gets a little uncomfortable to realize we are creating these blocks. So when we know what's going on, but we still can't help ourselves in saying something to our child or acting a certain way to them that makes us feel guilty, we create a block for them. But in saying that, we have to start to look under that to go, okay, this is their path. I'm going to trust and believe and hold space that they are a wise enough being. Our children, new children are, to heal themselves through that at a later date. I'm going to be there to help them do it. And they've got gifts to, do the healing and whatnot as well. And I will bring that too. So actually, when the time is right, we have got a good set of circumstances around us to actually work through that together. That makes me feel a whole lot better. And so then it just comes back to, well, we need to, as mothers, then realize, yes, okay, all the challenges in our life, we've got a block there, but we've also got a gift behind it. And if you haven't considered this already, please do, even if you need to pause right now and consider every challenge that you've had and what's actually brought to you. If we get honest, there is a gift in everything that we have to experience and work through. So then we can start to go, okay, that's how it is for me as well. And then obviously we don't want to go out and create blocks, more blocks than we need, no way. But that's when you can see our path is just about set up to have certain blocks happen. And same with our children, even though back in the 70s, 80s, our parents weren't aware enough probably to see the blocks they were creating on us. So for us, it's a new generation of, oh, wow, I can see some blocks playing out for my child. But as I say, all we need to do then is go, I am a human, I have a heart, I do feel guilty, and we will feel less and less guilty the more we become matter of fact and neutral about what's going on. But really, I always say we've got a heart, and sometimes we don't want to start tucking away the feeling of, oh no, I don't need to be guilty about that, that's their path, when actually sometimes we really still do feel it anyway. I do. So then we need to acknowledge those feelings, be with them, be present with them, release them. The easiest way is tears. Go for it, because once we've released it, it's gone for good, and you don't have to experience that guilt around that event again. And it brings so much clarity and so many gifts behind it once you do it, that it is worth it. And you will start to realize once you do it, oh yeah, I'm excited to release more guilt about this. I'm excited to release the guilt about that, because it will feel so good when I have. So, awesome mothers, please go and consider this. You do not have to feel guilty anymore. You do not have to think that you are doing something terrible, when actually we are being the conscious mothers who are trying our best, and as everyone else is. But when you look at it that way, you realize we are doing a lot. We are doing our best. So don't take it hard on yourself, and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Bye. Subscribe and like if you can. Thank you. Bye.